Hey everybody, it's Charles, your hobby hero, coming at you today with a video revealing the brand new spoilers for Set 2 for Disney's new Lorcana card game. Before we get started though, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down the bottom corner. We are almost to our 500 subscriber goal for our giveaway. If you haven't already gotten to that, make sure you go check out the video up above. Get registered for that giveaway, which hopefully will be hitting later this week. Now the huge news for today is that we have spoilers finally for Set 2. We've had a few bits and pieces of information that have trickled out, but we have a whopping 13 cards that were spoiled today, including some artwork. Is going to show us a couple other characters that we know to expect in Set 2. First and foremost, we have the set name, which is going to be Rise of the Floodborn. So we can expect to see a lot of Floodborn that are going to be in this set. I would expect they have talked about sets 1 through 4, really kind of laying the groundwork for this universe that they have built with the Dreamborn, the Storyborn, and the Floodborn, and what's kind of happening here. So we should get some more clues as far as the actual lore behind Lorcana goes with this set. So I'm excited to see that. Floodborn are some of my favorite arts that they've had so far. They've kind of been like the off-the-wall reimaginations of some of these characters, and this set so far has not disappointed with some of those reimaginations as well. Without further ado, let's go ahead and look at some of the images that have been released for some of the products that are going to be released, and then we'll get into the actual cards that have been spoiled with some way too early predictions on how good these cards are going to be. Alright, so the first thing we have up here is the actual release of the box art. Here we've got the Lorcana Rise of the Floodborn box art. As you can see, the characters that are on the box, we've got the Queen of Hearts, we've got Raya, we've got the Beast, Tiana, and Merlin. All of these are spoiled in the original spoilers with the exception of the Queen of Hearts and this new Beast card. So we'll look at that here later. Queen of Hearts and Beast are Beast we've already seen, obviously. Queen of Hearts will be a completely new addition to the game along with a lot of these other characters. So excited to see what direction they go with her. We also have our starter decks here. These cards are all revealed. We do have two new starter decks though. We've got an Amber and Sapphire, as well as an Amethyst and Steel, which is good, as this Merlin here, we'll talk about him a little bit, kind of has a new ability that really requires a lot of building around, so I'll be anxious to see how much support he has in this starter deck. And then Tiana has a new keyword which appears on multiple steel cards, so I'm sure will be present in this steel deck as well. We also have this Disney 100 collectors box here. You can kind of see the artwork for these cards here, and I'll pull them up here individually here in just a second. This is similar to the gift box in the set 1 that we had with Hades and Moana. It has 4 packs inside of it, and then this set of 6 cards with alternate artworks. Let's take a look at those 6 cards here real quick. First, I want to say this artwork is absolutely stunning, and the design on these cards are very similar to that of the Enchanted. As far as comparing this to the set 1 gift box, I don't think there's really any comparison. I think these are leagues better than just a cold foil that you could open out of a pack. These being unique from the cards that are in the set entirely. These sign cards too, you know, we talk a lot about the art for this set, but they really do have a ton of emphasis on art and artist appreciation. When we were at Gen Con, you could just feel how important to them it was from a design aspect, not just how the card mechanically works, but just how the set looks and feels from an aesthetic view. And you can tell in this one here, I mean, the artist signatures very prominently displayed on all of these cards. We have some new cards and some old cards. The Mickey Mouse and Elsa here are new from this set. We'll kind of talk about their abilities here shortly. Whereas the other 4 cards here are cards we've already seen. It's got a special Disney 100 stamp at the bottom. And again, just absolutely gorgeous art. very popular characters in Maui and Stitch and Maleficent, even the Genie, even if it's not the super playable version of the Genie, just a very popular set of 6 characters. I do think that's going to make these products much more popular than the gift box was set 1. And then again, this set we're going to have the Illumineers Troves again. Not much different here. I'd imagine they'd have very similar content. The one difference on this image here is we can see the Shere Khan is on the side of the box. So we've got an entry for him in this set as well. But otherwise, nothing probably much difference between set 1 and set 2 for the Illumineers Trove. It'll be a very highly sought after product because it's about pack price MSRP, and then it has a nice little box that comes in there as well, and just displays very nice for those sealed collectors that are out there. Next up, we have the 2 play mats that they have released for this set. We've got the Winnie the Pooh, the Honey Wizard, which is going to be, I guarantee, in at least the top 5 artworks from this set. Just an absolutely fantastic art. This mat is probably going to get purchased, if nothing else, just to say that I have it. This Beast artwork, though, here, where it looks like he's like a gargoyle or something, maybe on the castle, is absolutely fantastic. I don't know that we will see... I don't know when we will see this card, but that is absolutely fantastic artwork. I hope it's playable because this artwork just absolutely needs some love. And then here we can also see the deck boxes and the sleeves that we're getting this time around. Using the deck boxes, especially for the kids' deck boxes, they're not super sturdy, but they're sturdy enough. The sleeves are not great, and I do recommend that if you get them, one, you're not going to be able to combine multiple packs as they are usually not uniform in length, and you're going to probably have to use oversleeves on them just to make them shuffleable, but without the artwork scratching off or just sticking. They're not great shuffling sleeves. They do look fantastic. We've got Mulan here and Sisu here. Both look fantastic. Neither one of them we've gotten spoilers for yet, but excited to see some more characters. I'm a big fan of the Raya movie, so excited to see more of those characters from that show as well. And now let's take a look at the singles that we've had spoiled. All right, so taking a look at the first card here, we have that awesome Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizard artwork. I mean, this art is fantastic. They've selected this art for the playmat for the set. And honestly, I already have a playmat, but that art is so fantastic. I may just have to pick up that playmat just because. It's unfortunate that he is a vanilla character with such a cool name as the Honey Wizard and such cool artwork. We have him in Amethyst and 5-cost inkable. He is a 5/5 2 lore generator, so not a terrible stat line, especially for Amethyst. They don't have a ton of 2 lore generators, especially in that mid-range to early late game phase of the game. As of right now, I think this card would absolutely find a home in a lot of those control decks just for that big body and 2 lore generation stat line. But again, with no stats other than, or no ability other than his stats, I don't know that this guy is going to see play. But man, that's going to be a sick foil and an absolutely sick playmat. Next one up, we've got Mickey Mouse, the Friendly Face for Amber. He's a 6-drop inkable. He's a 1 power, 6 willpower, 3 lore generator. I know Amber needed more 3 lore generators. With the ability Glad You're Here, whenever this character quests, you may pay 3 less for the next character you play this turn. Now, just in its implications right now, we don't have a ton of things where this would be super applicable. You've already played a 6-drop at this point in the game in set 1. There's not a ton, especially in Amber currently, that really is going to benefit from his ability. Now, he's a 3 lore generator, so you're going to want to quest with him anyways, so getting extra value out of that quest is already insane. But hopefully we could see some bigger characters coming for Amber. If not, this is going to pair very well with a lot of those late game controls. So you can think right now, Maleficent being our highest cost card in the game right now at 9, this would basically make her playable the turn after it came into play because he's going to drop her cost all the way down to 6. Clearly, we already have 6 available because we were able to play him. So having her being able to come down that much earlier is very, very strong in and of itself. But anxious to see what other kind of combinations this guy can help bring into play early. Very, very big on this super rare. Next one up, we have Hero to Zero. This is a 2-cost action that is uninkable. It's also a song, so can be sung by your 2 drops or more. It does have the ability, count the number of characters that you have in play. You may pay that amount of ink less for the next character you play this turn. So similar to the Mickey Mouse, we have a cost reduction spell here. Being able to exert one of your characters to reduce the cost by your total number of characters across the board is a very interesting mechanic. Now, as it is right now, I don't know that we have a deck that this fits into, but clearly a theme that they have going for Amber in the next set is that cost reduction. Very excited for the cards like this. If we can have a deck that goes wide, let's say with a bunch of villains, and then plays a card like this to drop, I don't know, let's say the 8-drop Hades much sooner, we can see a lot of combinations with that. I'm excited to see what the opportunities for this card could be in the next set. Next, we've got Elsa, 4-drop, inkable for Amethyst. She's a 3/4 1-lord generator with Challenger 3. Now, this is a very aggressive Elsa for sure. Challenger 3 on 3 strength means she's going to be able to challenge and defeat most characters in single combat. Now, we could see a transition kind of from the 3-drop Elsa that we've been seeing. People shift up to the 8-drop to this 4-drop one, possibly, if it's a more aggressive format. She is definitely going to be able to help keep the board clear until you're ready to get to your late game and be able to still be a shift target for that 8-drop if you decide to switch up strategies from a more aggressive mid-range to that control top end. In the common spot, I think she's perfectly fine. I do think, though, this card will see some play just because, again, Challenger 6 is just a very aggressive ability on a 4-drop inkable character, and the fact that it has a good shift target means there's really not a lot of downside to playing this card in an Amethyst deck. Next one up, this one's kind of an odd one. This one I do feel like we're probably going to be seeing more support with future spoilers. We have Merlin, the Shapeshifter. He is a 4-drop inkable character for Amethyst. He is 1 strength and 5 willpower and only 1 lore generation. With the ability Battle of Wits, whenever one of your other characters is returned to your hand from play, this character gets +1 lore generation this turn. There isn't really anything that we've seen so far that could really take advantage of this guy's ability. His stat line is pretty abysmal as well, so I do feel like they are planning to reveal something that directly works with Merlin Shapeshifter here, and I'm excited to see what that is, to see if this is going to be a new archetype maybe. All right, next up, we've got our first edition from Raya, and it is Raya herself, Warrior of Kumandra. She is a 4-drop inkable for Ruby with 5 strength, 3 willpower, 1 lore generation. She is a vanilla character. Unfortunately, she's basically the Scar Fiery or Super from the set 1. Not a lot here. Now, if we see a higher cost Raya that shifts, this card could be more playable, or just some interaction with some of the other characters from that movie franchise. This could possibly see its way into decks. Just as it is right now, not a whole lot to get excited about this card other than the addition of a character from that movie if you were a big fan of that particular franchise. Next one up is a very unique card and something that I know a lot of the red players are excited to see. This is the Dinner Bell. It is a 4-drop uninkable item with the ability, you know what happens. You can exert this, pay 2 ink, and draw cards equal to the damage of a chosen character of yours, then banish that character. So you can challenge with the character, leave it with 1 hit point left, use this to then sacrifice that character basically to draw the damage equal to it. So it is a draw engine, a very cost-efficient draw engine at that. Now, will red decks be able to fit in a 4-drop uninkable? That's what we'll need to see, but I know a draw engine is something that a lot of those red players were looking for, and they're excited that this card was spoiled. All right, up next, we've got Tiana and the addition of our first new keyword, Resist. She is a 4-drop uninkable for steel with 1 strength, 4 willpower, and a 2 lore generation. With the ability Resist +2, which damage dealt to this character is reduced by 2. That means from all sources. That is not a once per turn. So if you challenge her with 4 different characters, each one of those characters that challenge her are going to have their damage reduced by 2. This ability looks absolutely nuts. They've spoiled it on 2 cards so far. We'll get into the second one here shortly. But that is absolutely crazy. And the fact that it is in steel that we've seen so far, which is the color that wants to be doing small amounts of damage over long periods of time, is also crazy. So it becomes the damage dealing color so far and the damage resisting color, which could really shift the metagame dramatically with cards like this. She also has the other ability, what you give is what you get. And while this character is exerted and you have no cards in your hand, opponent can't play actions, which means she is going to be very hard to get rid of if that deck emerges. We talked about this in my last video about how steel has positioned itself to be a very aggressive, like hand dumping type color. She kind of shows that that is kind of the direction that they are moving with steel. Another huge incentive to have no cards in hand, being able to activate cards like Beast's Mirror from set 1 to keep a little extra card draw going in to where you're not just completely top decking. But it basically makes her immune to things like Dragonfire. It turns off your ability, your opponent's ability to wrath the board with cards like Be Prepared, and basically means they have to be able to challenge this character before they can get rid of her. And with that Resist 2, there's not going to be a ton of favorable ways to exchange with her. Maui really is about the only character that comes to mind right now that has a favorable exchange with this particular character, and he just barely does it at that. So this is a big card, and I think one that we'll see a lot of play once set 2 drops. All right, coming down just a little bit down the page here, we have the Queen, which is our first Amber villain outside of Hades that we have seen. Very excited to see that we are at least getting one more villain in Amber. She's a 5-drop inkable, 4 strength, 3 willpower with 2 lore generation. She has the ability Shift 2, which allows her to come into play on top of another Queen character and be able to exert herself that turn to either quest, sing a song, or to challenge. Now, a lot of people have mentioned that there isn't a smaller version of the Queen yet, and honestly, I'm not sure that we will see a smaller version of the Queen. This ability, Shift 2, is really one of the only ways for us to give a character the ability to come in and quest for more than they did the turn before. Kind of that surprise factor for your opponents. And I think we're going to see with a lot of these shift cards that they are starting to use that shift in both ways. Not just to cheat a character into play early, but maybe to be able to cheat that character's ability to quest or challenge that first turn it comes into play as well. And I think this may be a card that really gives some credence to the latter. I don't know that we'll see a Shift 2 where this comes in any cheaper than on turn 5, but the ability for it to come in and be able to quest and trigger its other ability, Who is the Fairest. Whenever this character quests, a chosen opposing character gets -4 strength in this turn, and a chosen character gets +4 this strength this turn. So it's like super support on a stick. So she can basically come in, let's say on the 5-drop Queen from Amethyst, she can come in, shift for 2, double her lore generation from a 1 to a 2, and then quest immediately to give one of your characters of opposing characters -4 strength and a +4 strength on one of yours for just a huge advantageous swing. And I really think that's kind of the design they're going for this character, which I'm very excited to see what other kind of characters that they use that shift mechanic for that surprise factor more than the reduced cost factor. Next, we have Cinderella, the Stout-Hearted, 7-drop for steel. She's a 5/5, 3 lore generator, shift 5. We've got one Cinderella target already. I don't know that we'll see another one, but even if we don't, being able to shift on 5 on that particular target is very good. She has the ability Resist 2, which again is just an absolutely insane resist, especially with 5 willpower. That is just going to take a lot to get her off of the board. And she has the ability the Singing Sword. Whenever you play a song, this character may challenge readied characters this turn. It's one of the first characters we've seen with this ability to challenge readied characters. an effect that we probably all foresaw coming, but this is the first one we've really seen it, and it's pretty easy to activate. All you have to do is play a song on that turn to allow her to do that. That damage resistance and the ability to pick off attacker or pick off ready characters could make this card an absolute all-star in set 2. All right, we scroll down here. One of my favorite cards spoiled so far. We have Gaston, the intellectual powerhouse. These Floodborn cards are absolutely fantastic. He is a 6-drop uninkable for Sapphire. He has 4 strength, 4 willpower, 3 lore generator with the ability Shift 4. Right now, the only Gaston we have is a 2-drop, so we could get this one down on curve on turn 4. He has the ability, though, to develop your brain. When you play this character, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you may put one of them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, this guy comes into play, replaces himself with the best card you have on the top. He also can be a turn 4/3 lore generator, which is absolutely insane. Now just be careful. The only one we have right now does have Reckless, so make sure you don't play him on turn 2 and expect him to survive through turn 3 before you can play this guy. But having him played on turn 3, shifting in this guy on turn 4 is going to be absolutely brutal. And again, how do you beat that artwork with Gaston just showing his blueprints on how to capture Belle's heart? It's just absolutely fantastic. Speaking of Belle, we have our first legendary spoiled card, which is Belle, the Hidden Archer. She's a 5-drop uninkable for Emerald. She's a 3 strength, 3 willpower, 3 lore generating character. She has Shift 3. Just lots of 3s on this particular character. We don't have anybody that would be a lower cost shift for her. And this is another one here that I think shift-wise is really just going to be more for surprise factor than necessarily to get her into play much sooner. We don't have a ton of really cheap bells that are running around, but she has the ability Thorny Arrows. Whenever this character is challenged, the challenging character's player discards all cards in their hand. You read that right. All cards. She is a Flynn Rider on steroids. She is a 3 lore generator that they are absolutely not going to want to let hang around. And you have the ability in Emerald with cards like Iago, The Beast Is Mine, and John Silver to give their guys Reckless and force them to attack into her as early as turn 4, which is absolutely insane for your opponent to have to drop their hand on turn 4 is brutal. Now, if we see a 1-drop or a 2-drop Belle that this card can actually shift to on 3, that will be absolutely insane as well. I don't know if we'll get that or if we're kind of stuck with the Bells that we currently have in set 1, but I fully expect to see this card absolutely everywhere once set 2 drops, because that effect it literally just trumps anything your opponent can possibly do. If they have to drop their entire hand on turn 4, they're living off the top of their deck. If they're playing a control or a late mid-range deck, the game is over. Like there's no chance for them to recover at that point in time, because any inkable card is going to have to go into their ink zone, and the attempts to hopefully play something bigger later in the game while you're sitting here just churning out lore turn after turn. This card is insane, and I fully expect this card and counters to this card to be all over the meta once set 2 drops. So there you guys have it, our first round of spoilers for set 2, Rise of the Floodborn. Let me know what you guys think of the spoilers we've gotten so far down in the comment section down below. And until next time, guys, Hobby Hero out.